What's going on, YouTube? Back in the garage again. Gonna continue working on the zx6r. Hopefully I can get this done this weekend. I'm a little behind. I got caught up in some personal stuff, but let's just jump right into it and start working on this bike. So where I left off, I ended up painting the wheels. It turned out really good. They're nice and dry now. It's been 24 hours, about 24 hours. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to reinstall the brake rotors on both the rear and front. I'm going to make sure I put Loctite on them. I got to look up the torque spec, and I'm going to torque them down and everything. But yeah, very important to put Loctite on them. Got the rotors back on, torqued on the spec with Loctite. I even cleaned the crap out of the bolts so they're nice, look new again. Unfortunately, this is about as clean as I can get them. I'm going to try a little bit more when I go to detail the whole bike to get them a little bit more cleaner. The back one is kind of dulled. I wish I would have known that's how clean it would turn out. I would have picked up some flat gold spray paint or something to brighten it up a little bit, or something along those lines. But my next step is probably I'm going to put the front wheel on and do the front brake pads. I think that's what I'm going to do next. Alright, I got the front wheel torqued down. It was 94 foot-pounds, and the clamping bolts are 14 foot-pounds, 14 or 15. That's very little, so just be careful with that, because you are screwing stainless steel. It looks like stainless steel bolt into an aluminum housing, and that usually does not jive very well. So be very careful when you're torquing it. So at least I think it might be aluminum. I don't know. I don't have a magnet to check. So next is going to be doing the front brake brakes. But first I gotta clean the brake calipers a little bit more. I did a little bit last night, but they're still dirty. They're really dirty. I don't know what else to say. They're super dirty. So I'm gonna clean them as best as I can right now before I put them on. I'm gonna have to clean them again when I go to detail the bike. So doing this is just hitting the spots that I can't really hit when it's all back together. So come back once I get that all straightened out, and I'm about to actually bleed the brakes. I got both front calipers back on with new brake pads, plus I got the front wheel that I repainted back on. So at this point I'm going to bleed the front brakes, and yeah, I'm using .4 brake fluid. And I'm going to be using my little reservoir here to catch the brake fluid, just so it's not going all over my freshly painted wheel. It would probably destroy it because the paint's so fresh. Yeah. Alright. Time to move on to unhook all this, put the caps back on the bleeders, and then I got the new mirrors, so we'll put those on next. Right here, the old mirrors. Right here, this is the mirrors that the bike came with. I made sure I saved the nuts and also the little rubber gaskets that go underneath. Right here's the new mirrors. Hopefully they're identical. Just no scratches. Sure did wrap them up good. These mirrors were cheap. I think they were like 22 bucks for the set. Obviously they're not genuine Kawasaki. There's some aftermarket knockoffs. Yeah, alright. A lot better condition. No scratches or anything like that. There's no pitting on the base here. Everything seems firm. Sweet. Did it come with any new hardware? It doesn't look like it came with any new hardware. So I'm glad I saved the original stuff. That's it. No cracks. They look pretty clean. Alright, let's put these suckers on. Okay, so now I'm going to put the new mirrors on. Now there's two gaskets for the mirrors. There's one that goes right into the base here. I pulled that off the original mirror, slide that on. Then there's going to be another gasket that goes in between the fairing and the hold, the bracket underneath. So I got to slide that under, then put the mirror on. Super simple, but you just got to remember to put your gaskets in. If not, it's going to have a huge gap and it's just not going to sit right. So I'm going to knock out the other one. Then after that, we'll jump onto the rear wheel. So things escalated a little bit when cleaning the hub for the rear wheel. I was cleaning it, and evidently the paint underneath it was really flaky, so it just started really coming off. So at first I tried to use a maroon Scotch-Brite pad and clean the whole thing. Then I was going to try to polish it, so that would be, I think that would have been a neat offset black with a polished hub and another black sprocket. But it's cast aluminum, so it has a bunch of imperfections, so it wouldn't be an exact mirror finish. In order to do that, I would have to wet sand it with like 800 grit and then go through all the stages to get it nice and flat how I would want it to be. So I decided just to paint it at that point. Fresh coat of paint, never hurt nobody. Then I put a very light coat on the sprocket also, just to freshen it up. I would hate to put on all these fresh painted pieces and then put a dirty, scratched up sprocket on. Even though it's new, it still was all scratched up. So I cleaned it up, put a fresh coat of paint on it, looks good. I cleaned all the nuts and put a little bit of Loctite on all the threads, torqued them down. Good to go. So now at this point I can actually put the wheel on. The paint might be a little tacky yet, but I had it sitting out in the sun, and it's high temperature and engine paint, so that stuff dries really quick. So I'm gonna attempt to put it back on. Hopefully I don't mess it up or scratch the wheel or mess up fingerprint the hub or anything like that. So yeah, I'll put you back on the tripod and put this rear wheel back on. Got the rear wheel on. It wasn't too bad. I think I tried 2 different attempts and finally had the spool pieces to stay in. You're gonna deal with that. It is the nature of the beast. So chain's on. I just have to tighten up the wheel so I have the correct play in the chain. Basically, if you don't know already, there's a bunch of lines on the back of your swing arm, and there's another line on the block for the where the axle mounts go, or axle goes through. You line up that line equally on both sides, and you get the correct play on your chain, which actually I'm pretty good right there. Check. Okay. I find it's easier to snug this just slightly so it holds a little bit, then make your fine adjustments with your adjustment screws right here to get it to actually be where you want it to be. Once I have it all set, I actually take a rubber mallet and I smack the back of the tire real hard to settle everything and make sure it doesn't move. I check by checking the lines. So I'm going to line that all up, and I'm going to do the rear brake pads. Alright, you guys, I got the rear wheel all adjusted back on, all lubed, good to go. Next, and probably the final thing I'm going to do to this bike is the rear brake pads. I already have the pads collapsed. All I do is I leave the old pads in there, and I take a little pry bar, stick it in there, and pry and collapse the caliper as far as I can. That allows more room for the new pads when I go install the caliper. You don't want to do that with the new pads because obviously you're going to scratch the crap out of the new pads. And in turn you're going to have uneven wear on your rotor, and it's probably going to damage your pads and rotor. So I'm going to take that apart and mount it back to the bracket. It's real simple. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to do the rear brakes on one of these bikes. It's simple. Pin right here, pull that out, and that releases the actual mounting pin, and you can slide that out. Then basically the brake pads just about completely fall out. So I'm going to do that, and I'll come back once I have that all finished. Alright guys, here it is sitting on the ground. It turned out pretty goddamn nice. I did take a little tiny short, very short very short ride halfway around the block, and we had a catastrophic failure. I'll show you what's going on. Everything went great. I literally went down the road here, made turned, was coming through the parking lot, got to the end of the parking lot, pulled in the clutch. Everything was good. I was waiting to check them both ways before I left, and the clutch cable snapped right here. So I gotta get another one of those. So it's not too bad. Still runs. When it shut off, I thought like something internal of the motor just went on me, but no, it just, the cable snapped. So rear brakes, I do need to bleed them. It feels like there was like nothing there. Front brakes, they just need to be broken in. Seem to be like have that like grinding noise, but they just need to be settled and broken in. They're all brand new, so sure that's all it is. Yeah, so I gotta order a new clutch cable, put that in. That kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So overall, I'm pretty pleasant with the way the bike turned out. I just had to do a really good detail to it before I put it up for sale, and obviously bleed the rear brake and replace that clutch cable. So it is what it is. Alright, you guys, let's gonna finish up this project slash reconditioning of the ZX6R. This is gonna be the last video. Found this interesting. You want to see more of what I do in this channel, please like and subscribe. I got more stuff coming. I'm going to be pulling out the CRX. I'm going to be doing some stuff to that shortly. I got some Grom stuff I want to do, and I'll be pulling the Suzuki Bandit back out and doing some more work to that. Plus, probably going to buy another project after this one sells. So, it's just the nature of the beast, just keep them rolling. Yeah, again, please like and subscribe. Take it easy.